Okay, what's up, everybody? This is Martin Williams, and I am coming back to you with another video. And this, I'm getting an echo that's really annoying. Hold on a second. All right, that is so much better. Yeah, so I'm here, and I kind of came clean about how bad I did last night on Daily Fantasy earlier today, and so this afternoon I'm going to talk about tonight's games and try to find a fun way to spend the last $2 I have on my Fanduel account before I reload at the beginning of the week. So let's see what we got going on here. So this is a head-to-head that I'm looking at getting into. And let's look at who might be a good pick for tonight. Not going to go through all the positions. Just going to pick out a couple that really stand out to me. First one that stands out is obvious is Garrett Cole. Cole has really been tearing it up this year. He's 7-1, got a 2.16 ERA. The thing that really jumps out at me is his WHIP right there. His WHIP is 0.844. That is excellent for those of you that are not really up on the advanced statistics. And also his strikeouts per 9 innings is insane, 12.7. You can see its highest was in 2014, 9.0. So he's on a tear right now. And I would say he's got to be in the conversation for Cy Young award at this time. So he's going to be pitching against Oakland. Oakland's a good hitting team, but they play in a really roomy ballpark, the Oakland Coliseum, and not a whole lot of home runs are hit there. The 5th fewest home runs in the majors, in fact, are hit in Oakland. So, Garrett Cole's a bit of a fly ball pitcher. I don't think he'll have any trouble with the Athletics personally. I think he'll get the W tonight, provided he gets enough run support, which he should. And I think that's kind of like a no-brainer pick. Go ahead and put him in your lineup right there. And the next person I'm looking at, I'm kind of going back and forth between JT Realmuto and Carlos Santana, Supernatural. Realmuto is kind of looking at his ISO score. See where he is with that. It's got a 2.22 ISO, which is pretty good. That's kind of what you want your players to have if you're going to pick them on the FanDuel. You want your players to be above a above a 0.200. Sorry, I got a little tongue tied there. So everything kind of checks out with that. And when we go to his actual, the whole picture, you look at the whole picture of his stats. Not a lot of home runs, only 7 home runs on the year. But he's not really a big time home run hitter. The most home runs he's had was last year, and that was 17. The Marlins Park, where he plays most of his games, not a big home run park. Not exactly sure like how many home runs they give up. The best way to find out instead of guessing is to look it up. So you're seeing, this is how I do the bulk of my research. I do it right here on Baseball Reference. It's kind of a good one-stop place to get everything. And when you scroll down, yeah, just as I suspected, Marlins Park doesn't give up a lot of home runs, like 58 on the year, which is actually less than the Oakland Coliseum. Hardest place to get home runs is Tropicana Field, coincidentally. I knew AT&T Park is more of a pitcher's park. The new Braves Park is also pretty tough, as you can see there. So, so when it comes to home runs, don't necessarily get your hopes up with that. But Realmuto does, get you extra base hits. He's got 3 triples on the year, 22 RBIs. So I'm not, and he also hits for average. So strikeouts are really low, 33 strikeouts. That's got to be amongst the lowest in the league. He just doesn't strike out much. So I think that's a good pick, a good value pick. When you look at a guy that is going to put a bat on the ball and make contact. The guy that I was looking at along with him was Carlos Santana. So when we look at Carlos Santana, he had those big years in Cleveland. So he's kind of had a history, and his ISO score is pretty good, .210. So let's take a look at him. So far this year, he's got more home runs than Realmuto, but lower average. So you're not, and he's almost 30 points lower than his career average. So he's definitely not hitting well. And that's a bit of a concern because, that Philadelphia park is, that's a hitter's park. So, it's kind of that's a bit of a concern. Obviously being in the National League, you have to take that into consideration, the fact that, he's changing leagues and, seeing brand new pitchers basically after being in the American League for so long. So I wouldn't necessarily hit the panic button on Carlos Santana yet, but as far as like tonight, I don't know if that's the best guy to put out there. So I think I'm gonna go with Realmuto for tonight. Just because his he hits for average a lot better than Santana. So we really got to look for value here because we're putting so much money on Garrett Cole. And I definitely think he's gonna pay off, but you got to look for value. So the last guy, it's actually 2 more guys I want to look at. I want to look at Joey Gallo. Gallo's been pretty solid for me. He's still very underpriced on Fanduel. He's got 17 home runs. I know that 199 batting average is scary as I don't know what, but the 17 home runs though, that really like jumps out at you, and also the strikeouts are another thing. Now compare him to Realmuto. Realmuto's only got 33 strikeouts, and when we look at the at bats, Gallo's got 236, and Realmuto has 180, so he has less at bats. He has 56 less at bats, but the strikeout ratio, it's not even close. So the reason that Gallo gets a look for me is because the power numbers. And that if someone's hitting 17 home runs, he hit 41 last year. And the strikeouts were high last year too. He almost got to 200 strikeouts. That the that kind of comes with the territory. The strikeouts, power hitters typically are going to strike out a lot. And with Gallo, the only reason he's in the lineup is because of those power numbers. If he wasn't hitting home runs like that, he wouldn't be in the lineup. And, you know, he wouldn't even be in consideration for my lineup. But because of those power numbers, I'm definitely going to put him in there. You know, at $3,000, that's really a good, you know, that's a good risk to take. I mean, if you're going to take risk, take smart ones. All right. So again, we're looking for value. So let's keep going. Let's see here. So for tonight, I'm also looking at pitchers who are not necessarily guys that like to keep the ball in the park. So let's take a look at those guys and see if we can find anybody that they're playing against that would be a good pick for us. Right? So we're looking here at our home run percentage. Cole Hamels gives up a lot of home runs. Luis Castillo. And let's see how many of them are playing tonight. Cole Hamels is playing. So he's playing against the Dodgers. Kind of surprised to see Hamels up there because he was so good when he was here in Philadelphia. Also looking at Marco Estrada, see if he's on the docket for tonight. I think he might have played earlier, or the Toronto might have played earlier. Look for one more person. Okay. All right. So, you know, we're trying to match up, you know, pitchers that aren't great as far as like keeping the ball down. You know, we're looking for, you know, pitchers who are, you know, who can possibly give up quite a few home runs. So I'm not really seeing anyone. So let me see who in that Los Angeles game, who we can possibly take a look at here. So second base. Let's look at Logan Forsythe. And his ISO is 0.114. That's not good for me. I need something a little higher. How about Justin Turner? We'll look at him. Yeah, it's even lower than that. So, slim pickings. How about Chris Taylor? I know his number is going to be a little higher. And he's kind of on that cusp, the 0.198. He's kind of on that cusp a little bit. So, at 3,600, I don't know about that. Now, Matt Kemp, I'm pretty sure is going to be higher than Taylor. Kemp's kind of enjoying a bit of a renaissance. Yep, 0.22. So let's look at Matt Kemp. He'll be our last player that we take a look at. So Kemp, you know, he's playing all right this year. 333 batting average, 10 homers, 41 RBIs. You know, really, you know, nice bounce back year for him. Seems like a change of scenery really did him well. He was batting 276 in Atlanta last year. You just didn't have a great year overall. So, nice bounce back year. Him coming back to LA after being in LA for so long. You get the power numbers. 10 home runs. I know that seems low, but he's after really blowing up in 2011. He's kind of hovered around that 20 home run a year plateau for a while. He had the one year where he was hit 35, splitting the year in San Diego and Atlanta. But you got to remember also he's 33 years old. He's just not the same player. And you also see the fact that he has no stolen bases. So everything that you're going to get from Matt Kemp is going to be power numbers.